Okay, so we should be here. We should be live, guys. I haven't done this in a while, so there is going to be a little bit of latency. But if you guys are able to, one, hear me, and two, see me, do me a favor and just drop something in the chat, whether it's some ones, whether it's some twos, whatever you guys want to drop in the chat. But let me know if you guys are able to hear me and see me clearly. That way I can go ahead and get started. I'm going to give you guys a second. I don't know how big the delay. I'm doing this on YouTube. Usually we do it on Zoom. But before, when my internet was garbage, the latency, it was kind of bad at certain points. It'd be, a good 5-10 seconds. So, okay, cool. So I'm seeing, nice. Sweet. So we're here. We're live, we're blessed, we're abundant, right? So, first off, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in tonight. This is our first live stream of the new year of 2025, right? Of 2025. On this one, I'm expecting that there's a mix of students and people that are wanting to become students, or that, are, learning trading or investing, whatever the case may be, on your own. So what I'm going to be doing on this live stream particularly is more or less setting the tone. I'm going to be going over the market. I'm going to be going over a beautiful trade that we took earlier this week on Monday or Tuesday, whichever one it was. But as well as going over the trade, I'm going to be giving you guys the opportunity, to ask questions. Share comments, share concerns. And we're just going to be going over our general outlook of what we think this trading year is going to be looking like, right? This is our first live stream. The plan is for me to be doing these at least 1 to 2 times a week for the rest of my life, right? So this is our first one this Thursday. Tuesday, hopefully we're going to be doing the next one, but for sure it's going to be every Thursday, right? Every Thursday we're going to be doing these live streams. Again, I'm going to be going over my trades. I'm going to be going over, general analysis, whether it's crypto, whether it's Forex, whether it's, that's really all I trade is crypto and Forex. So that's what we're going to be going over, is crypto and Forex. Maybe in the future we'll get into stock trading, who knows? But I trade Forex. I'm a binary options and Forex trader, and I take that money and I invest it into crypto. So that's what we're going to be covering. Aside from that, these calls are made for me to help you guys learn and help you guys become better as traders and as investors. So I highly encourage you. This thing that we have here, the keyboard, right? Make sure that you use it, okay? Make sure that if you're confused or something that I'm saying is not making sense to you, that you ask the question that you need help with, right? Everything that, and I say this on my Zoom calls with students, is I am not doing this for me. Obviously, I'm doing this so I can grow my channel, but I'm not teaching myself, you know what I mean? So at that point, if you guys are here to learn and something I say ever confuses you or doesn't fully make sense, or, whatever, just ask the question, right? The only dumb question, ladies and gentlemen, is the one that you do not ask, right? So ask your questions and take your notes, right? Another thing, note takers are money makers. The way that students make the most money and that traders make the most money, it is not by trading the most, it is by who knows the most, right? So you know the most stuff by writing down the most information you can, because we don't remember anything. So write your stuff down. If I say something that you think is worth value, or whatever the case may be, write it down. That way you can use it and apply it later on in the future, right? So I think that's everything I had to say for my introductions. For those of you guys that have been expecting me, this is the last thing I'm going to say. For those of you guys that have been expecting me to start doing this, these live streams a long time ago, right? So did I, right? I was supposed to have started doing these weeks, if not months ago. But I have had a pretty busy end of 2024, beginning of 2025, right? I just moved into our new house. We are in the new office, as you guys can see, right? It looks kind of similar to the way it was before, but I have some new upgrades, right? So I'm going to be using that stuff to, produce better content, and hopefully, I can already kind of tell the internet's better here too. By this point, I would have lagged out, 20 times already. So we're here. If I do end up lagging at any point in time, just send it in the chat. And I'll do whatever I can, to speed up my computer. That's the next thing I need to buy, is a better computer. But with that being said, people, we are going to go ahead and get into everything. Let me move this here. Boom, boom, boom. Like I said, I am if you're a student, then you already know what I do, right? If you're a student here, we're just going to be going over the trade that I called out earlier this week. Again, it was Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was. We're going to be breaking that trade down, how we were able to do it and how we were able to find it. And for those of you guys that do not know what I do, I am a Forex trader, right? Oh, it's Forex, right? But Forex is the largest and most liquid, economical, or financial market on the planet, right? It has the most liquidity and it has the most transactions going through it on a day-to-day basis, right? It's also the lowest startup cost, and it also provides you the most legal amount of leverage that you can find on planet Earth. Right, so there's a few different reasons why out of all the financial markets that people have the ability to trade, someone that's starting out tends to go to Forex, right? And then when you start doing it, you end up realizing, hey, compared to stock options, it's cheaper and it's easier and it's faster. Compared to crypto trading, it's cheaper, easier, and faster in certain cases, right? Certain cases with crypto. And the same thing with real estate, right? So I like trading Forex. I think it's fairly predictable, for lack of better words, once you do it on a repeated basis, right? But that's kind of how everything is. But yeah, so I trade Forex. I'm a day trader. And what else can I say about that? And like I said, I mostly only trade currency pairs and money that I make from currency trading. Not even really currency trading. This is the one pair that I'll trade if you guys want to look it up. European euro against the US dollar, right? That is the reason. The reason why is because instead of Nvidia, whether it's Apple, whether it's gold, whatever it is, right? This one currency pair again has more opportunity and more movement and more opportunity, like I already said, for you to make money compared to other markets, right? So that's what Forex is. To sum it up quickly, it's a way for you to access the global currency market online by doing it. You can do it on your house, you can do it at your home, you can do it on your phone, computer, whatever. But it's the same thing as trading stocks, same thing as trading options, same thing as trading futures, same thing as trading on Charles Schwab or whatever. It's just a different platform, different market, and there are benefits to doing it, right? So that's why I trade Forex. I think Forex is better. I have a ton of videos on YouTube that explain why Forex is, a better choice for beginner traders and even advanced traders. So if you guys want to learn that, go check it out. But aside from that, we're going to be getting into not really what Forex is and how it works, but more so just general trade analysis on what we were able to do, right? What we're going to be focusing on. We took a couple of trades this year already, but we're going to be focusing on this little section right here, right? Because this was this past week. Where's Monday? Monday started right here, or Sunday, I guess is the first day of the week, but Monday for most people. So Monday was here, and currently we are on Thursday, or it is Thursday, and the market is over here, right? We haven't been really doing much over here. We'll get into that as to why, but we're going to be focusing on this, right? This little area over here. And we're going to be doing a replay mode, and I'm going to be going over the top-down analysis with you guys again. But again, the point of this call specifically is because I have a mix here of students and you people, is I'm not going to be going I'm going to be going in depth, but I'm not going to be like going over like the super basic stuff. You know what I'm saying? If something I say does not make sense to you, then feel free to ask the question and I will answer that. And then for those of you guys that I'm seeing a few people that are, some of the OG students, right? So if you're an OG student with Cashflow, shout out to you for hopping on, right? But either way, some of you guys might be used to binary options trading, and that's something that I'm going to be doing that mostly in the Zoom calls, especially because of the latency. You can't really do that with binary on here. But point being, what I'm trying to say is more so we transition into traditional spread betting instead of normal binary options, right? So if you're used to binary options, this is the exact same thing, except it's on a bigger time frame, right? So that's pretty much the only difference, okay? So first thing that we are going to be going over is, we'll go over this first trade. We're not going to go over that second one yet. If we get time, we'll go over the second one. So we're going to be looking at this point in time right here, right? And I'll explain what happened first, right? And then I'll explain how it happened and how we were able to tell what happened. So in this particular setup, right, this whole bias, right? This whole bias actually came from a predetermined thing from a couple weeks ago, right? Euro USD. Let me go to a bigger time frame. Once Trump got elected, right, that was a big thing, that was a big turning point for people. for markets a while ago. Right, so Euro USD was in a huge downtrend, like hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of pips worth of downtrend, which is a lot of, it's a lot of movement, right? It's a lot of movement down, right? And we were at a point where we were at the lowest trading price that we had been at in over 2 years, right? So because of us trading at this price that we have not traded at for over 2 years, this is, again, I'm talking back now a couple weeks ago, right? A couple weeks ago, I'm noticing this, right? And I'm saying, okay, well, the market, it just has to go up, right? And it's a pretty common thing, right? If it, you buy low, you sell high, right? Everyone knows that, right? So this is kind of a pretty bare example of that, right? We were very, very, very low, and I knew that the market had to come up at one point or another, right? And so what ended up happening is whenever this new year started, a whole bunch of stuff has happened, since Trump's been in office, even in the past 10 days specifically. But since before he was inaugurated, just the stuff that he was talking about was all the monetary policies were being affected, and that changes what happens with price action, right? So to sum it up simply, right, a lot of this movement was because of political people talking, right? And that's not the point I'm trying to get at. But I knew that we had a very fast growth back up to where we were currently, where we were trading at, right? This time, I'm talking a little bit all over the place, but I'm trying to set the tone and set the foundation as to why we were setting up for sells, right? It's because, long story short, we shot up very high, very fast after it took us a long time to go down, right? So it made me think, okay, well, if we shot up that fast, the market needs to go back down because it happened a little bit too fast, right? So, because if we look here, this point of time before we made a reversal was 38 days, right? If you look, I wish I can show you guys, but right there at the bottom of the thing, it says 38 days pretty much, right? And then in this point of time, from this bottom to where we started looking for sells, was 14 days. So a little bit less than half of the time frame that it took to go down, it took for it to come back up, right? And this isn't like an always kind of thing, but what I'm trying to get at is just by blatantly looking at it, you can kind of tell, okay, that went up a little bit too fast, so more than likely we need to have a retracement, right? So that was just overall thought process as to why, even though we were in an uptrend here, let me hide all this shit, that way you guys can see, right? Even though here, technically, this is an uptrend. Oh my gosh. Of all times, my mouse dies. Don't worry, guys. We're prepared. All right, don't worry. All right, we take that, we plug it in. Boom, and we're back. All right, so here we go. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah, so even though we were in an uptrend here at this point in time, right? Overall bias is that this uptrend happened in less than half the time that it took for price to go down there. So again, we're expecting that there possibly is going to be a retracement, right? And now if we just start looking at some other things that I like to look at, okay? For those of you guys that want to get like a general foundation of what my analysis is, because that's what I'm going to kind of just go into here, is how we analyzed it and how we were able to call it out relatively fast. I use the same things, the same stuff, every single trade, every single day, right? I'm a very simple person, and if you look at my live streams in the past, you'll see that what I'm going to show you now is literally exactly what I was showing you a year ago, right? It's just that I'm showing you now instead again. A big thing that I like to trade is psychological levels, right? Psychological levels, if you want to look it up, another word for it is called whole number theory. Another word for it is supply and demand on a macro level. But we'll get into that, right? So what whole number zones are and what psych zones are. So I'm very much into trading psych zones, and aside from trading psych zones, I'm very big on Fibonacci, right? Fibonacci retracements, I'll go into that. It sounds like mumbo jumbo, but it is a very useful tool to simplify what would normally take a trader 20-30 minutes to analyze. You can find the exact same zones and the exact same, whatever you want to call it, supply and demand, support and resistance, fair value gap, fucking area of interest, whatever you want to call it. You can find it the exact same way using a fib retracement, right? So taking that information into consideration, right? I use psychological numbers, I use fibs, and there's a couple other tools that I use in conjunction with that to get further confirmations. But those two things are like legitimately the general foundation of how I trade, right? And I'll go here and I'll show you guys full transparency. Every single setting, every single thing that I use for you guys to go and use it by yourself. And I hope you go and do it because it works and it's easy to do it, okay? And if it doesn't work, prove me wrong, right? So I'm going to show you guys how I'm right, and then I encourage somebody, whether you're viewing this now or later, prove me wrong, right? So say use it and tell me it doesn't work, okay? After a month's worth of time, tell me it doesn't work, okay? And I'll pay you money if you do. If you can come to me with a month's worth of data using what I'm about to show you, and it does not give you a positive return on your initial investment, I will pay you double what you put in. I promise you. If you do it and you show me it, and we'll run the numbers. I promise you. That's because that's how confident I am in this, right? I'm here to make things easy for you. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. So aside from us noticing that this went up too fast, so it needs to go down, right? We're not going to really get too much into the political side with, like Trump's tariffs and, the Fed's monetary policy. The Fed has a lot to do with, how they print money, and interest rates and everything of that nature also affects what happens in the markets. We're not going to talk about any of that tonight, right? Because that'll just take too long, right? What we're going to do is we're going to take it at a very beginner level, and all we're going to talk about is technical analysis, okay? When you get into the fundamental data and you get into economical trading and all that kind of stuff, legitimately, my life was easier when I did not study that stuff, right? My trades were the same stuff, but I was confused less before I started studying economical data, right? I got into trading the news and economics very, very much so like a year and a half ago, and I would say that makes things more complex, right? So let's say you're a beginner trader, which most of you guys probably are, or you would not be here. The way we're going to break this down is just strictly technicals, okay? Strict and technical analysis is the stuff we're looking at right now. It's the charts, it's the candlesticks, it's the lines, it's the colors, it's all that stuff, okay? That's what technical analysis is, and it is more than enough, okay, for you to take profitable trades on your own, right? A big thing, I'm going to get some viewers too, because I'm doing these public, right? And that's why I'm saying this as well. There's going to be a few viewers that say, oh, you can't trade with technical data, or you can't trade with technical analysis, or fibs are outdated, or whatever, right? And again, prove me wrong, right? That's all I got to say about that. Prove me wrong because it works, right? From the math, okay, you can trade economical data, yes, and you can get bigger moves from doing so, but if you knew how to do that already, you'd be doing it, right? But we're on step one, we're on level one. We're going to learn how to mark up a chart the correct way, in my opinion, right? In my opinion of what's the correct way. And then maybe next week, or, as the calls go on, we'll start setting, and if you're in the course, you have, a whole 3-4 chapters dedicated to economical data. So you guys can go watch that if you're a student. If you're not a student, I'm talking to you, where over the next couple weeks, next few months, so on and so forth, I'll go into the more complex factors that also have to move the market, or that also move the market, contribute to moving the market, and we'll tie everything in together on how you can use them both to your advantage, right? Because without even if you didn't use TradingView or any charting tool, you in theory could still trade by just listening to the news. You could, right? It's just who wants to do that. Is it easier? No, is the honest answer, right? It's definitely not easier doing it that way, right? And again, anyone that does say that is someone that probably isn't actually trading too actively. We'll call it how it is. You know what I'm saying? The people that are really trading news are banks, institutions, hedge funds, liquidity providers, things of that nature. Whereas, Joe Schmo, that probably isn't, trading full time. You don't really need to be paying that much attention to the data. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. Take that into perception, okay? By the time we hear about the news, most of the time everything's already priced in, unless you're trading like, NFP or whatever. But there's that. So we're going to focus, we're done talking now, we're going to go into this. We're going to focus strictly on technical analysis. And I might mention, like, this candlestick here more than likely was a news report. This blue candlestick right here, this big one, this was a news report where the Fed was talking about raising or lowering the interest rates, and they didn't change the interest rates, which boosted the market up. You know, how many pips was this? Let's see. 66 pips, right? That's a lot. Okay, so again, there are times where it is appropriate to talk about it, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so what we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen, so where's Monday? Monday, 8 a.m. This is exactly where you were. So I am a New York trader, right? So for those of you guys that don't know what New York means, right? It is basically, to sum it up, I'm not going to go in depth. It means when you're trading New York Open, it means you're trading at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, 8:15-ish, 8:15 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern. You're trading New York Open, okay? I like getting my trading done as soon as my day gets started. I don't like being on the computer all day. I don't like looking at charts all day. And I don't, I'm usually, honestly, before these live streams, I'd be in bed by now, to be real with you. But we're going to be sacrificing this year. So I used to trade at nighttime around 9 p.m., but now I'm 25. I don't feel like doing that anymore at this current point in my life. Maybe I will in the future. Who knows? But I have the freedom to trade New York session. It's early in the morning, and I like doing it that way. So that's how I do it. And for those of you guys that work a normal job, it's good to trade New York because you can trade New York before you go to work, make money while you're at work, and by the time you're done working, you have made more money from trading. Okay? So I trade around New York Open. So I'm on my Discord group. I'm usually sending out my initial analysis by, 8:30 typically. So we're going to go back to around where that was. This was Monday, right around here, honestly. So we'll put this replay. We'll put it, I wasn't on here. We'll put 8:15. And for anyone that doesn't believe me, go look in the Discord. Go look when I send the messages out. Okay. So this is what we were looking at initially. Okay. So, and I'm gonna go over this with you exactly how I marked it up from the very beginning process. Okay. Aside from the previous bias that I already had, right, where I mentioned to you earlier that the market went up way faster than I personally thought it should have. So I'm thinking it's already gonna go down. Okay. To top that off. Right, we have a lot more momentum right here, okay? The blue candles represent momentum, right? So we have a lot of momentum going up right here, okay? And again, simple terms, right? If it goes up pretty fast, it probably needs to come down fast too, right? So I'm seeing, okay, well, we had this impulsive move, right? We had an impulsive move up, right, where it moved pretty aggressively, impulsively, aggressively, whatever word you want to use for it. We had an aggressive move to the upside, okay? So I already told you I like trading with fibs, right? So it's going to pop up anyways. So let me do this. Let me delete this. So that way you guys. Okay, I already had this marked up. So I'll mention this before we go into the fibs. Right, the two things that I mentioned to you guys that I really, and this will make your trading so much easier and a lot faster. And if you're a new beginner trader, research these two things. Fibonacci retracements, whole number zones, whole number theory, whatever you want to call it, okay? So first thing that we notice, okay, is I have this white line right here that says 5,000 major zone, right? What that means is that if you look right here, right, I can't zoom in on it, but if you look right there where these numbers are, it says 1.0 5,000, right? That is a whole number. It is a big number. Right? And it is a psychological number. Why is it a psychological number? Because it is a whole number, right? So the way that the human brain works is it wants to make things as simple as it possibly can, right? And that just because, people on Wall Street or people, that run hedge funds make a lot of money, it does not mean that their brains work more complex than yours does, okay? So whole number zone and the whole number theory basically means that when the market, when the candles, anything reaches near one of these whole number zones, whether it's 1.5 thousand, 1.4500, 1.4250, 1.5250, 1.550, whatever it is, anything that has like zeros on it, it's a whole number zone. And we'll go look over this really fast. We'll do a little side note right here. Let me pull up another Euro USD. That way this one. I'm going to prove this point first. But I'm going to do this super fast for you guys. Okay, we're going to do this super fast. Super fast. Okay. So I'm going to take this white line, and I'm going to show you guys how whole number zone works. We're going to plop this line right there. I'm not even looking where it's at. I didn't even look where it's at, okay? The number is 4557, okay? Now, that's not exactly a whole number zone, but let's make it a whole number zone, okay? We're going to make this 4500. I see your question, Tank. Your name, I'm pretty sure Tank. You're Fernando. I'm pretty sure, right? To answer your question, yes, the live stream is going to be on YouTube once it's done rendering or whatever, and I can post a video on YouTube going over the full trading view setup that I have, but that'll take too long to go over right now. But if you message me, I got you. But we're going to put it to 4500, right? It was at 57. We're putting it to 00, right? So this is our general area, right? Now what we're going to do, we're going to take a box, right? We're going to take a normal little rectangle, and we're just going to draw above it a little bit, and we're going to draw a little bit below it, okay? Now we have what's known as a whole number zone, right? So just by looking at this, right, doesn't it kind of look like the market just makes a reaction around that zone, right? If we look right here, the market had a big reaction there, right? We came up to here, market started reacting pretty decently, right, from there. Each time it got near the zone, price got shut back down, right? We came and we actually hit the zone once, price got shut back down, right? And now what happened here, right? When we broke through that whole number zone, we retested that whole number on the fucking pip, exactly on the pip, right? So after that happened, where did price go? Let's see where price went. Let's just draw a line right here, right at the top. What number is that near, right? What number is that near? If we look at it and we click on it, it says 1.5077, right? So if we want to just be simple and clear it up, why don't we just put some zeros, right? And now we have a general zone, right? Again, we do the exact same thing. What number, let's see, oh, well, people are going to say, oh, well, Ollie, it came higher than that right here, bro, right? Okay, so let's see where that one went. Let's duplicate this, and let's put it right around here, right? What number is this near? 5200. Isn't 200 still considered kind of round, right? Or if you want to say, oh, well, that's not technically right, okay, then do 250 if you want to. A quarter number zone, right? Price came up to this quarter number and then still got rejected. When it got rejected, where did price go? Right back down to 4,500. After it hit 4,500, what happened next? We had a very big impulsive move, and we broke 5,000, right? So when I realize, I wake up, right? We wake up, I get on the computer, and I'm like, oh man, okay, last night we had a very big, where's my little pencil? Here, right? During London session, which is in the middle of the night, we had this very big impulsive movement upwards where we just so happened to break through this psychological level, right? So just by common nature, just by simple deduction, right? If it broke through that zone aggressively, more than likely it's going to need to come back down, right? To reach everything, right? To make everything equal again, to reach equilibrium is what I was trying to say, to reach equilibrium, right? And to fill liquidity, some people want to say, oh, the liquidity needed to be grabbed, equilibrium needed to be found, mumbo jumbo, whatever, right? The price needed to go back down, okay? So using that, right? So we already have two things going in our favor, just relatively fast, right? Before, previous week bias, I already told you, man, price came up really fast, really hard. That sounds funny. Like, but it price shot up pretty fast, so it needs to probably go back down. That was thing number one. Number two is the exact same thing right here, just on a smaller scale, right? So what goes up needs to come down. Pretty simple, right? Aside from that, we have our whole number zones. We're getting smacked down from a whole number zone right there. How can we tell, Ollie, that the market's getting smacked down? Okay, well, let's just look. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Right? What do we got right here? Right? Does anybody know in the chat? Does anybody in the chat know what this would be considered? I'll give you guys a second to see if anyone knows it, right? If anyone knows, how can we tell that this means that price is getting rejected from this whole number zone? I'm going to take a sip of water while I give somebody a second. Who has the courage to guess and to try? Nice job, Christopher Felix. You are correct. Right, we have a doji. And there are different, and a doji is a type of candlestick, right? For those of you guys that are very basic, these are all candlesticks, right? There are different types of candlesticks that mean different types of things, right? And basically everything that it means, that every candlestick means, is, are we going up or are we going down, right? So when we have a long wick on top and a body on the bottom that's more so leaning downwards, usually that means that the market's rejecting from up top, meaning it needs to go down, right? There are different names for this one. People will call it a spinning top. Some people would call this fucking, excuse me, I need to watch that, sorry, we're live. Yeah, spinning top, more than likely is what I would call that one. I wouldn't consider that like a gravestone or inverted hammer. Some people would say that's an inverted hammer. Me personally, I would just say it's a doji, right? Keep it simple, right? So it's a doji candle, right? And doji candles mean what? That the market's going to reverse, right? If you want to write that down. What do doji candles mean? The market is going to reverse. And then if you want to put this in parentheses, typically, right? Typically, okay? So typically, it means that it's going to reverse, right? So we have all those things going in our favor. So we hit the whole number zone. And what are we seeing? We're seeing a doji candle reaction happening, okay? That's another decent confirmation for us, right? So, but we're still in this uptrend. I wasn't here thinking, okay, we're going to make a complete reversal. I was just thinking, okay, we can catch a couple pips by selling, right? So how can we tell how far it's going to go, right? That is exactly what the tool Fibonacci retracements are for, right? So if we take the fib settings and we draw it here like that, right? I'll show you guys what my fib settings are, okay? If you guys want to take a picture of that, if you want to screenshot it, if you want to write it down, whatever. People have paid me thousands of dollars, okay, for this information right here. I mean, move my little camera out of the way. But so if you're not writing it down, you're not using it. You gotta get off the call. Get off the call if you're not gonna use it, right? But there's the settings if you guys want to use it. How did I find these settings and why do I think these settings are good? It's because I spent out of my personal time and my personal energy, I spent probably 3 to 4 months of time, physical months, right, of me sitting here on this computer, back testing years worth of data from different traders that use different settings of fibs. I read books. I literally have a book over there about Fibonacci retracements, okay? And I did all of that research. That way you don't have to, right? That way you can find this simple little thing, right? And I didn't invent it. I didn't, create this, whatever. I literally just took a bunch of information and I back tested it. I found the average of what works the most. And I figured out how I like to see it the most. That makes the most sense. And I put it together and this is it, okay? So I've been using these fib settings for over a year and a half, almost 2 years now, right? Before I started trading fibs, I was mostly just trading supply and demand. But fibs, again, makes everything that I used to do in the past 1,000 times faster and easier, okay? So use it, right? So what this means is we have two options right here, right? Market goes up. This Fibonacci retracement is telling us that the market is either going to come down to here and go back up, or the market is going to come down to here and go back up. And worst case scenario, the market is going to come down to around this area and then come back up. So we have two options at this point, right? We can either wait for price to come down to one of these zones and enter for buys, but who knows if that will ever happen, right? Or what if I don't want to feel like, honest, what time would that have been at? Yeah, if I had, let's say I trade in the morning. Like I said, I like to be done typically in like 30 minutes. By 9 a.m., 9:30, I'm done, right? So I'm not really a trader that likes to wait, right? I don't like putting pending orders and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to give you guys a bar right now, too. I said this the other day to a student. I forgot who it was. But I said this the other day, and I forgot who told this to me. But, it changed everything about my perspective on trading, I guess, right? So this will make things a lot easier for you as well. Don't trade what you think the market is going to do. Trade what the market is doing. Okay? I'm gonna say that again, right? And if you're gonna, I'm gonna do this too. I can quote myself, right? So we can quote myself. We're not gonna look at the charts right now, okay? We're gonna look at it in a second. Okay? This will make your trading a lot easier. Okay? So write this quote down. Do not trade what you think the market is going to do. Trade what the market is doing. Okay? Trade what the market is doing. And I'm going to give you guys a perfect real life example of this right now. Okay? So, like I just said, I could have chose to wait and said, oh no, this fib retracement is going to, oops. That's embarrassing. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay. So I could have said, we're going to wait until price comes down to here, here, or here, right? But like I said, who knows when that would have been? Okay, so instead, if I'm already expecting price to go down to one of those zones to continue in its uptrend, why not just sell now? Why not just ride the wave down, right? If you already have a couple confirmations, what confirmations do I have? I had a whole number zone rejection. I had a doji candle. I had, I'll show you a couple other things. But we had the psych zone. We had the doji candle. Again, basic momentum, right? What goes up needs to come down. So we have 3 confirmations right there. That's kind of confident. That's a pretty decent confirmation setup, you know? So to make it the 4th one, I have a fib here, right? Even though the fib hasn't fully been completed and whatever, I'm expecting it to happen though. So that's enough for me to make an educated bias on that and use that as confirmation to sell, right? So, but for those of you guys that are like, oh man, that's still crazy. You know, that's not good enough. We need more stuff, right? So let's see what else we can find, right? But I'm just telling you guys, that's what we had. I figured, okay, well, the market's probably going to come down to one of these zones. So let's ride the wave down, right? If it's 8:15 and price is here, oops. If price is here, we can get a quick 12 pips here, a nice 30 pips there, and if it comes down to there, you can get 50 pips just by doing the same exact thing you would have been doing. So instead of missing out on those 50 pips to potentially make some pips later, just make them now, right? You know what I mean? Just do it now. Make life easy now, right? So let's just say that, but we need some more stuff. So now we're going to add on a couple of other things, right? So we're going to focus on these 2 things, right? And now we're going to look at some indicators, right? And again, for some people that are going to be watching this, you're going to say, indicators? Why are you using indicators? Indicators are for noobs, right? Or whatever, okay? Again, prove me wrong, right? So I like using 2 indicators right now at this point in time, and using these again for years, right? Stochastic and RSI, right? Relative Strength Index and stochastic, right? This one is the RSI. This one is our stochastic, right? Or do I have... Yeah. And then, we'll go over those settings a different day. But right now I'm just going to show you. I don't use them so much in the way that traditional people use them, where it's like you're using it to dictate momentum. I still do, but I use them more so to help me spot reversals, right? With something known, and I'll make a whole video about this too. Right, if you guys want to write this down, right? It's called divergence, okay? Divergence, right? And a way that I like to imagine the word and how to remember what it means, right, is divide, right? You have divergence, you're dividing something, right? And when you're dividing something, usually it's 2 things going away from each other, right? That's just how my brain is, remembers it, right? So I'm telling you, right? When you're diverting, you're diverting away from the problem, you're diverting away from whoever, you're diverting whatever, right? So there's divergence. It's 2 things going the opposite from each other, okay? So, right, what do we see here? Market is going up, right? What does this look like it's doing? Looks like it's going down, right? So that is known as divergence, okay? We are not seeing divergence happen here yet necessarily, but I'm going to spoil it for you because I know what already happens because I already took the trade. And when I forward the candles, it's going to end up looking like this. So we're going to have divergence on the RSI as well. So each one of these counts as a confirmation for me. So I have divergence on my stochastic and I have divergence on my RSI, right? So again, divergence means that if this is going up and this is going down, usually what that means, again, quote unquote, typically, it's going to reverse, right? If the RSI, for this example, right? If the RSI and stochastic are pointing down, this is pointing up, usually that means the market's going to go down, right? Let's say that the market was going down and the RSI and the stochastic was pointing up. Usually that means that the market is going to reverse and go up, okay? And again, if I'm wrong, back test it and prove me wrong. I'm telling you what I know legitimately as facts at this point, right? You know, again, you do your job and prove me wrong, right? So there's that. So we had divergence there. That's another confirmation that just makes me uncomfortable enough to take the trade. You know what I'm saying? Right? I'm not saying that, oh, the market's going to go thousands of pips in my favor. I'm not saying, oh, I'm for sure going to win this trade. I'm not telling you to take the trade. Whenever I send out my trades in the Discord chat, I just tell you what I'm doing, right? I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, right? And what I'm doing with my real money, okay? So I see that. Those are the things that I saw. And we can go into a couple other things as well, right? Let's go into this. Then now let's hide those indicators, right? I have some other tools that I like to use as well, right? So we're going to use this one right now. We're going to hide our drawings. We're going to hide this drawing, okay? Boom. Right, so we have a couple things here, right? Again, indicators. What are you doing? Right? I'm making my life easier is what I'm doing, right? So don't talk to me, okay? So we have our indicators, right? I have a whole video on this, right? Bollinger Bands. We're going to look at first things first. We're going to look at the Bollinger Bands, right? What's happening right here? We're breaking through the first band, right? We're in the middle of the first band, ladies and gentlemen. So usually that means that what's going to happen if you're hitting the top band, what needs to happen? Market needs to go down, right? So we have that as an additional confirmation. Super fast, super simple, right? Next confirmation we have our yellow line right here. This is a 200 exponential moving average, right? It's a 200 EMA. For those of you guys that don't care about what it means or what it is, it's the yellow line, right? So basically what it means is when the market, when these candlesticks get too far away from this yellow line, what typically happens is price is going to come back to the yellow line. So we can all kind of imagine where if this kept going, where this yellow line would go, right? Probably around here somewhere, okay? So what needs to happen? Price is probably going to come down and meet that yellow line somewhere, okay? When the price gets too far away from the moving average, it goes back to it, okay? Very simple, very easy to understand, right? So that's an additional confirmation that we already have, right? So now we have RSI, we have the stochastic, we have our Bollinger Bands, we have our EMA, we have our fib retracement, we have a whole number zone, we have common knowledge, right? So now let's see if that's still not enough. What else can we possibly use for confirmation, right? Right, let's add this one, another little smart tool, right? Let's see if we can find anything with this one. If we don't find anything with this one, then whatever. Right? We still have what do we have here? We went up a time frame. You guys see what I did there? Is I couldn't find a solid confirmation on this time frame using this tool that I'm currently using, right? We'll go into what it is on a different day, right? Basically, for those of you guys that like trading smart money concepts or, you know, ICT or whatever, you know, it does this. It basically shows all the zones pretty much. That way I don't have to take the time to do it myself, right? I like making my life easier, right? So I'll use this as an additional confirmation, right? I didn't find anything there. So what did I go to? I went to the higher time frame. On the higher time frame, what do we see here? We see a supply zone, right? A supply zone is a resistance zone, is a whole number zone, is a sell zone, is a liquidity zone, is a whatever zone, right? It means that the market is probably going to go down, right? So I see that here. I'm saying, okay, bet, right? We also have an additional doji on the hour time frame, and it's a bearish doji, even better, right? So now we have two more confirmations, right? So let's drop back down to the 15, where all the magic happens on the 15-minute time frame. We're going to hide that indicator. We're going to turn off our sound. That way people don't disturb us. And we're going to turn on our last tool. Oops, not that one. This one. Right? So, this one is kind of telling us at this point, man, market is still going to go up, right? So, we're not going to use this one right now, you know what I mean? So, instead, let's see what happens if we go to a higher time frame. Right? It says it's a weak high, but it says also that we're in this resistance zone, right? So, we'll go back. So at this point, I'd say confidently that we have at least 7 confirmations that are solid. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 3 to 4 that are kind of wishy-washy. Okay, but 6 to 7 solid confirmations. And the way that I like to do it, okay, is very simple, right? If you have 5 confirmations, go full risk, right? Whatever risk you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what you should risk. I'm not going to, on this call specifically, right? But, some of you guys, don't make money in trading because you risk too much. You know what I'm saying? So, if you risk too much, lower the risk, right? Me personally, I'm a safe trader. That's why I'm not a rich trader, right? Because I'm a safe one, right? I usually only risk, 3% max. Max I'm ever going to risk on a trade is like $200 to $300 comfortably. You know what I'm saying? Max. And I aim to make 3 to 1. Right, so I'm gonna aim to make $600 to $900. If I'm going 300, if I'm going 200, I'm gonna aim to make 400 to 600 max. You know what I'm saying? But again, we're gonna get into that. But some people like to trade with 1% risk. Some people want to trade with 10% risk. Some of you guys like to trade with 50% risk, right, per trade. You do you, right? I'm just saying. If you have 5 confirmations, take that trade, man. You can take it, right? It's safe. It's safe to trade, right? And if you lose the trade, it's not because you're a bad trader. It's not because the analysis doesn't work. It's not because, you don't know what you're doing. It's because you lost it. You lost the trade. You lost the trade. It happens, right? It happens to the best of us, okay? But if you have 4 confirmations, now you're going to risk a little bit less, right? If you're going to risk 3%, now you risk 2% if you have 4 confirmations, right? If you have 3 confirmations and, there's no other opportunity, then just do 1%. If you have 3 confirmations, it's 1%. So 5 confirmations is 3, 4 confirmations is 2, and 3 confirmations is 1. And if you have less than 3 confirmations, why are you going to take the trade? Ask yourself that. Because some of you guys make that mistake, right? Some of you guys, I'll get on a call and someone will show me their trading log, and I'll ask them why you took the trade. And let's just use an example. Oh, I saw a head and shoulders. What else did you see? Oh, I saw Head and Shoulders. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, you gotta check yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? So if you don't have at least 3 confirmations and you're taking a trade, if you lose it, don't be too surprised, right? But the more confirmations, the better. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, at this point, and again, if you do this, once you do this fast enough, not fast enough, once you do this enough times, and again, you have your previous bias from the previous day, from the previous week, the previous month, whatever, it doesn't take you that long to do this stuff. It takes me this long to explain it to you. I'm a little rusty, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little rusty. I haven't done a live stream in a while, but I think we're doing pretty good. And if I'm confusing anybody at all, again, please let me know. But if I'm not confusing you, they'll do it like this. That way we can know. If I'm not confusing you right now and everything I'm saying makes sense to this point in time, right? Because now we're going to go and show you guys the results of the trade. So if everything I've said up to this point in time makes sense, type the word yes in the chat for me. If everything I've said so far makes sense to you, let me see the word yes in the chat. Please. If it doesn't make sense, then I would like to see no's. Right now it says that there's 25 people on here, which is pretty good for our first one. So I should expect to see 25 yeses or 25 no's, or a variety of that sort, right? If everything I'm saying makes sense. Cool. And Polly, you have, pretty sure you have the access to the Forex course. I'm pretty sure you do. But if not, it says the names right here. If you guys can see that. I don't know if you can see that. This one is Fluid Trades SMC Lite. This one's Smart Money Concepts by Lux Algo. This is a free one. Usually Lux Algo is paid, but this one's a free one. And you can only have three indicators at one time on TradingView. So the reason why I'm able to have all these on at the same time, if I wanted to, is because I have the paid version that allows you to do the replay of what I'm currently doing right now. How, we're going back in time. The paid version of TradingView lets you do that. It's like $10 a month, $20 a month, something like that. I pay the yearly. I think I paid like $120, $150 or some crap like that for the year. Right, we have that information. What else? What else can we find? Let's see. But let's just say I felt like being lazy, right? You're tired, you woke, you didn't sleep that good, whatever. You're not having the best morning, you know what I'm saying? Right? And you're like, man, I'm tired of looking at the charts. I'm just going to take the trade, right? So let's just say we entered in right here. Got in at current market price, right? We're going to target, we're going to put, very simple, right? A mental thing that I like to do is if you see the numbers right here, and I have this more explained in the video in the course about when you get to Fibonacci retracements, I have a little thing. This is a little hack that I like to do personally, is I'll just put my stop loss above the numbers. I don't have like an exact number. I can tell you guys, I put it here, I put it there. Let's put it above the numbers. You know what I mean? Why? No specific reason why. It just, it puts you in a little bit of a safer zone, and then it works. It just works, right? So, don't ask me why. Just do it, right? So, put it up there. If you want to round it up, you're saying, oh, okay, well, it's already 17 pips, and you want to go to 20, you can do that. I think 20 is a little aggressive, personally, for me. But, so we'll put it back where I realistically would have probably had it. Right around there, right? And usually, if you're going to risk 1, you want to make 3. Usually, right? What does that mean? If I'm going to risk $100, I want to make $300. If I'm going to risk $50, I want to make $150. Typically, again, right? Sometimes you might get away with $100, right? Sometimes you might get away with a 2-to-1. Sometimes, these trades, this one specifically, might end up turning into a 5-to-1 or a 6-to-1 or even a 7-to-1. It depends on the trade individually. But the bare structure that people want to go by is a 3-to-1, right? That's the whole benefit of trading Forex, like I mentioned earlier, is that you can make more than you risk, right? I went to this trading event the other day. Shout out to Jane, right? I see you on here, Jane. Shout out to you. I met Jane. She's a new student that got started with us from this event that I went to. But I was talking to another trader that was there, and he traded stock options, and it blew my mind. But he said that he risked, like for the contracts or whatever, that he risked like $400 or like $500. And I asked him how much were we able to profit, and he told me literally, I swear on my life, God struck me down right now. He told me $30, right? $30. Right? And he was a very smart trader. He showed me his charts. He knew what he was talking about. And he knew how to predict the trade. He was right about the trade, but he risked hundreds of dollars to make $30. Okay? A negative risk to reward ratio, don't even put it in my direction. I don't even want to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Why entertain that time? Why waste your time doing that? You know what I'm saying? So I tried telling him, I was like, bro, if you're already this smart at trading options, why aren't you trading Forex, dude? You have the money. Just trade Forex, But then, so we're talking about it. Maybe he'll switch sides, who knows? Maybe he'll join and come to the promised land, right? But either way, what I'm trying to say is the benefit of trading Forex. And, I might be wrong. That might be a special example of stock of maybe a trade gone, wrong. I don't know, where he broke even, where he got out as soon as he made some money. I don't know personally. I'm just telling you what he told me. He said he showed me the trade. He said he risked, like I don't remember if it was 300 or 400, but I asked him how much he made, and it was $30. Okay, so when you're trading Forex, if you're gonna risk $300, you're gonna make at least $600 to $900, at least. Right, at least. And if you're being very, very, very conservative, you're gonna make at least $300. If you're risking 300, the bare minimum you need to make 300. And if not, don't trade Forex, right? Don't do it, because that's the whole point again of what I'm trying to get at. So that's why I'm emphasizing this. Okay, so if you're a trader, there's a couple of dudes. There's this one guy on YouTube, And here's the thing too. I'm a dude, right? I'm a normal God-fearing man, right? I check people, okay? Anytime I see a trader that's preaching some mumbo jumbo and they're trading Forex, I'll message them. And that's why I went to this event. Was to see if people knew what they were talking about, right? So there's this guy, I forgot his name. If I find it, I'll tell you, but I'll find it for you. And we'll talk about it next week. But he preaches trading a 1-to-1 for Forex trades, right? And after this, I'll stop my yapping. But pretty much that's saying he does this. He preaches this as the trading strategy. That's the golden trading strategy that everyone should follow. And that's the thing too. I'm not saying that I'm better than other traders, right? I'm not saying that I'm better or that my strategy is the best or whatever. I'm just saying what I do works, right? And it's simple. Okay, and there's so many people, and yes, I sell a program, yes, whatever. I'm honest about it, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, I'm showing you exactly what I'm showing you right now is what I show you guys in the course, right? Why hide it, right? Because if it works, it works. You know what I'm saying? The point of what I'm trying to say, though, is not that I'm better, but it's that I'm honest. You know what I mean? And again, the benefit of trading Forex is that you can make more than you risk. Right? So if you have somebody on YouTube or you have somebody that you paid for a program for and they're telling you to trade a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio in the Forex market, you know, it's your fault at that point, dude. It's your fault. You know, it's not your fault, it's their fault. But you gotta, you know, understand that people in this industry, including myself, want to sell their program, right? But the difference is when you start going into the program, does it actually make sense, right? With the foundation of what the market is, okay? The reason why people trade Forex is not because you can get a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, okay? It is not because you need thousands of dollars to start trading it. It is because it is accessible and you can make more than you risk, okay? So for those of you guys that have been on the edge about trading Forex, right? You can make more than you risk. You will make more than you risk. Okay, period. And if you don't, it's because you don't know what you're doing or you're learning from someone that does not know what they're doing. Okay, and if the person you're learning from is saying some crap like that, usually it's because they're making all their money by selling you the course and they're not actually trading. And if they're trading, they're not trading with real money. There's that too. There's some people, you know, that's what I'm saying. This year I'm coming here to make a difference. You know what I mean? I've been very wishy-washy when it comes to my social media growth, right? Just because I like talking to you guys, right? I like talking to you guys and I like trading. I don't like posting too much, but I'm good at it, right? I'm good at teaching. I'm good at that kind of stuff. So this year I'm coming to make a difference in the trading community. Right? I'm coming to expose people and I'm coming to show people what the truth is. You know what I mean? So, you know, at a certain point in time, we're gonna be meeting some other bigger names, hopefully, right? You know, so. And we'll go trade for trade. We'll go pip for pip, right? But now to get back on point with this, that's the end of my little rant. Okay, so we're gonna risk 18 pips, and we're gonna aim for a 3-to-1, typically, right? So we're gonna put it right there, right around 3-to-1, right? You see how this number in the middle says 3, right? And when you move it, it goes up and down, right? This is a 2-to-1. This is a 3-to-1. Okay, so we're going to put that at 3-to-1. So if I'm going to risk, well, whatever, right there is fine. If I'm going to risk 1, I'm going to make 3, okay? Now, the way that this works, right, is different things, right? Well, let's say we enter right here. Boom, we're in the trade, right? Take profits. How should I say this where it makes sense? When you're trading, you have the ability to take partial profits. That's what I'm trying to say. You can do a couple things. You can move your risk to 0. And once you move your risk to 0, you can also start taking partial profits along the trade, right? That way you're not risking as much and you're guaranteeing yourself money, right? If that makes sense. It's a little complicated. I can go more in depth into it later. Different video, different time. But point being, what I'm trying to say is you can minimize the risk as the trade goes, okay? So for this example, right? If we're entering here, take profit 1, it depends, right? Realistically, take profit 1. I don't like how it's uneven here. So for me, it was at around 15 pips. 15 pips was right here in the middle, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, literally exactly right there in the middle. So my take profit 1, boom, is usually always around 15 pips, right? But then after that, take profit 2, you use the fib zones for your target levels, right? So boom, take profit 2, take profit 3, take profit 4 is down here, and then who knows? What if it goes down all the way? You know, you don't know, right? So let's see. But we have take profit 1, 2, and 3 to start out with, okay? So we're in here. Let's see what happens, right? And let's even make this more realistic, right? Let's drop down. Now let's go to the 1 minute time frame, because this is how it actually is. When you zero in on the trade, you're going to drop down to the time frame to get the best possible entry that you can possibly get. You know what I'm saying? So realistically, I was not in this trade yet at this time. I'll tell you guys the exact time that I sent the trade out. Let's pull up Discord. Scroll. We sent this trade out at 9:36 a.m., right? For those of you guys who don't believe me, I might, whatever, I don't know if that works, if you guys can see that. But it says 9:36 a.m., okay? So we are going to move this to 9:36 a.m. 9:36 is right around here, okay? So we'll just wait. We'll just push this. We'll let this ride out. What time is it? Stop pausing. Okay, there we go. 9:02. Let me slow this down. I want to get the, oh, duh. I can't do that. Never mind. Oh my gosh. Hold on, guys. Uno momento. 1 second. 9:36. We got a little bit left. $9.15. Okay, 9:36. So I actually entered here. Right? So now we're even more risky because the stop loss is even lower now. But what do we notice here, right? So this is what it actually looked like, right? So now we notice a couple other things here, right? Momentum died off, right? We were coming up here. How do you know momentum died off, Ollie? Here. We have a high, and then this high is lower than that high. This high is lower than that one, so on and so forth. Lower highs, lower lows, right? So safe to say it's okay to get in, okay? We didn't make a new high, meaning that we ran, the bulls kind of left. You know, there's no more opportunity for buyers, so we can start selling, right? So let's say we got into this trade right here, right now, right? So we're gonna go here, we'll go 7, we'll go 5 minute. All right, we are in the trade. All right. Oops. No. There we go. Okay, we're gonna delete this. Okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, boom. Immediately, I can't even pause it because it goes too fast. But immediately, okay, what happened here? And I sent this in the update. I sent this in the chat as well. Okay. As soon as we enter the trade, okay, market went straight. We barely went into drawdown for like 2 seconds. We went into drawdown. Okay. Where did the market go? It went directly to our first take profit zone. Okay. When it hit our take profit zone, what do? We make the stop loss $0, meaning this became a $0 risk trade. If the market was to reverse on us, we're not going to lose any money. Okay, it's pretty cool, right? So now, you know, there's no risk, right? Nothing but upside for you, okay? Guaranteed money, or I wouldn't say guaranteed money, guaranteed not losing money, right? It's guaranteed not lose money. And a high percentage chance you're going to make money off this, right? So it went 15 pips, okay? And that's take profit 1. You can choose to take some profits. You can choose to close the trade. You can choose to let the trade run. You can choose to adjust your stop loss. Whatever you want to do, my friend, right? You have the freedom to do that as an entrepreneur and as a day trader, right? You get to make that decision yourself. But no matter which one of those decisions you make, you're winning, okay? So now we keep holding. Let's keep holding. We hit take profit 1. Almost there. Take profit 2 just got hit. That's 30 pips. You can choose to close it there as well, or you can wait, right? Now price is consolidating in our gold zone, right? And then what happened there? Boom, the rest of the price went. Now let me pause it if I can. It's still going, sadly. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back to here before that move happened. Where did I exit? I think I got out like, I exited here. So I got out of take profit 2. So me personally on this trade, I closed my entry around here, right? right? As soon as we hit the gold zone, I got out. So I got out with 30 pips, right? I got out with 30 pips. Why? Because this was a bullish Fibonacci, right? Remember what we said in the very beginning. I was expecting the market to come, boom, and come down to either this zone and go back up, come down to this zone and go back up, or best case scenario, full TP, come down to this zone and then go back up. But again, what am I? I'm a safe trader, right? I don't like risking my life or my money. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so that's me. But because of that information, I figured, okay, we're in this zone already. More than likely, we're probably gonna go higher. Okay, so I exited the trade, right? And then what ended up happening though is we kept consolidating a little bit more, right? And now this was what was I gonna say? How do I say this the correct way? The big move that we're about to see was another move that I was able to get in on, but that had more so to do with technicals, right? Not technicals. That had to do with data. That had to do with the economics, right? That had to do not with the economics, the economy. And it had to do with political data, pretty much. We can go over the news report in specifics if we have time, but we've already been on here for an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you guys here all night, so we'll get into that though. But basically what ended up happening is this trade was a complete dub, right? It was a complete dub, right? Went straight to take profit, right? We moved our stop loss, became literally a risk-free trade, and we closed it around here. Okay, so we were able to get literally 30 pips on the dot, and we closed that trade, okay? I kept waiting, and then this was in London session the next day. London, Tokyo the next day. But pretty much what happened is the European euro, what happened was their central bank, they cut their rates, I believe. Yes. Yeah, what happened is the European Central Bank, they cut their rates more than they were expected to. I think they were only expected to cut their rates down, I think by 25 points, and they cut it down, I think, by 50 points. Mumbo jumbo to you guys right now. It doesn't matter, right? Again, and here's how I know it doesn't matter for you, right? Because this move happened when? At a time you weren't going to be trading typically, right? Because we're New York traders. For those of you guys that trade at nighttime, maybe you would have been affected by this, right? But then you would just analyze the European market a little bit more than the dollar, right? We go into that in more in-depth videos and trainings and stuff in the program. But what I'm trying to say is that the euro, where again, we're trading euro USD, right? So not everything revolves around the dollar, believe it or not, right? America is, a big powerhouse, but, Europe is still a very big country. I mean, not big, it's still a very big, place, right? And their government is, a very strong political power as well, right? So what happens in a general sense is if something bad happens in the US, the pair euro US is going to go up. If something bad happens in Europe, the pair euro US is going to go down in favor of the dollar and vice versa. Okay, so what happened is the banks over there cut their interest rates over there, which meant that the euro is now worth less money. Okay, since the euro is now worth less money and we're trading the euro against the dollar, what needs to happen now? What's gonna happen? It goes down, right? The pair is gonna go down, right? And now, out of monetary policies, right, or out of economical data, the ones that dictate interest rates are some of the most important ones that happen, okay? So, I just and how did I know that they were going to cut rates? I didn't know they were going to cut rates, but because of what was happening, the past couple weeks, and me following previous news reports, right, you can just kind of make an assumption. And, literally here, you want me to give you guys a little cheat sheet of what I do, honestly? I open these things right here, the MSN whatever, you get a lot of information on it, believe it or not. Some things here a little bit, whatever, but you'll find some things eventually. If something's happening when it comes to, like, when Trump was doing the tariffs, where was that? Where was the tariffs for? Was it, not Panama? Where did he just do the tariffs for? He just did tariffs for somewhere. He threatened tariffs somewhere. I'm having a fucking brain fart right now. But like a week ago, he threatened tariffs of like 30% for a country where was it? It wasn't China. Sheesh, man, whatever country it was, right? But, you know, they had that information on here, right? So you just read it, you know, sometimes you just see the headlines. The headlines are what I'm trying to get at. So, you know, I just open up a new window and these headlines, you know, they help me sometimes. Can't even lie to you. But, so, you know, you see stuff about that, you follow up on it, you know, you get a little bit of a bias. And I was already willing, I was kind of willing to take the risk on another trade setup because this trade was so good, pretty much. So what happened is, let's just say we got in there, pretty much. And now how did we, what the heck? One second, guys. Towards the end of this already. So, bear with me and we'll be done soon, guys. Shout out to the people that are still watching, though. I'm surprised. There's more of you guys on here still than I thought there would be. I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys must be very, very hungry to learn. And it makes me a very happy person. Right? Alright, so we'll put 20, make this even. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, the way that I was able to also kind of tell. I wasn't able to tell. I was taking a risk here. I'm not gonna lie. This trade was a little bit more risky. Was I deleted this fib. I deleted it. Right? And I decided to draw an updated one. Right? I decided to draw an updated fib. Okay? And so now what we're seeing is that, or what I'm assuming, right, is because of what's about to happen in Europe, because, and also the dollar was, they had a bunch of news reports as well that happened in the past, you know, week as well. You know, so you have a feeling, you know what I'm saying? And you keep up with news, you'll have that little bit of extra hindsight and insight. You know what I mean? So we redrew the fib, and now we're expecting a bearish move. So we're gonna come here, come to zone 1, go down, come to zone 2, go down, or come to zone 3 and go down. The exact same thing, just opposite now. Right, it's a little bit more risky because we're still kind of in a buyer's market, ideally. So it's, you know, a little bit of a riskier one, right? So, but that's what you do. You know, you got to risk it for the biscuit. You know what I mean? So, I don't want to skip the candle again, but let me just do it for a second. Come on, pause. Okay, so let's just say we were to get in. I don't remember the exact price. I can pull it up later, but let's say we were in a little bit of a drawdown. Let's say we got in here. Let's say realistically I got in here. It wasn't though. I know it wasn't at that time. I got in late. It was like we'll say 8. We'll say 9. We'll say 9. We'll say 8:30. We'll say we got in here. Let's see what happened. Same thing though. So then this whole move happened because of, not the Fed, the European Central Bank Fed, pretty much, the European bank, they cut their rates. So then that caused the pair to go even farther. And now if we look, right, just to get confirmation of everything that we talked about today, we're going to delete this. Now we use the fibs, right? Where did price go? It went straight through take profit 1, take profit 2, and take profit 3, where we stopped. And if we look at price, where did price stop? We draw a white line here at the bottom. What number is this near? Right? We can either say 300 and put it there, or realistically, I would not have done that. Where I would have put it is I would have done 250, right? Granted, yes, 250 is lower, right? We didn't actually hit 250, but how far away did price come from 250? We go right there. 3 pips away from the whole number zone is where it went to. Okay, 3 little pips is how far away it was from the whole number zone. Okay, so it was a price magnet to the whole number zone. Okay, after we hit the whole number zone, where did we start consolidating? At the previous whole number zone. This kind of looks like a break and a retest of the 4,500 zone, or 4,500 zone, I'm sorry, 4,500. You can see that here, 4,500, right? Let's see what happens. We're bouncing in between these two zones. And then, I haven't traded any of this movement, so, well, actually, let's just go, I'd say let's exit replay mode, and we can see where we're at right now. So remember that picture right there. Remember that right there. Okay, now let's go back. So this is where we're currently at. So we're still trading right there. Oh wow, all my drawings, they leave. That makes me sad. Okay, well, let me see. Oh, I can go back to here. Here we go, I already had it. This was the actual trade setup. Here we go, let me find it. Right. Why is literally none of my stuff loading? Bear with me, ladies and gents. And we're about done. I just want to finish the thought. I want to show you guys where we're currently trading at and what we can expect for this trading week's already over, to be honest. It's already Friday. So we can see what we can expect to see this upcoming trading week. Oh my goodness gracious. You know, one of the things about being an entrepreneur, man, is being on computers, dude. I hate computers. Okay. Well, none of my stuff is here for some reason. Why? I don't know. But, let's ask. Where are all my drawings at, dude? I had all my trades. Oh, I'm on the wrong one still. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it's fixed now. Come on. That's really sad, actually. That really saddens me. Where am I? Okay, there we go. It's because I'm on the wrong time frame. There we go. Alright, so this is where we're currently trading at. For some reason, the previous ones that I had already taken aren't here, but basically the first trade literally was up here. Somewhere. Yeah, 8:30. We caught that one. Closed it around there. So this was that first trade. And the second trade we caught was here, off of this thing. So after we just stopped watching, this is everything that's been happening since then. So let's just say I didn't do this, so I'm not going to say, oh, imagine if you do it, but I'm going to kind of say it. So if we were to hold the full trade from the very beginning, it moved a total of 140 pips, right? From this initial analysis, okay, that we went over this entire call, everything that we just talked about, the market reacted, and you had the potential to make 140 pips off of this trade. Or using the same analysis, you could have taken multiple trades and profited multiple times off of different setups using the same analysis, right? So it really just depends. But me personally, I caught 2 trades on it. In total, I caught around like 105 pips. The first one was 30, and the other one was like 9. I caught this whole candle pretty much. It was a lot. And then I haven't traded the rest of this week, and I'm probably not going to trade tonight or tomorrow. There's no opportunity. What we're seeing right now is that we are currently trading at, what price is that? 3908. So we're just below this whole number zone. There's really, me personally, I don't see anything that is here worth taking. I would say it looks like buying pressure wants to come in, but I'm not gonna predict. I'm not gonna predict it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna wait and see how the market looks on Monday and see if we have an opportunity that's easy to spot using everything that I just told you guys. And that's pretty much it. You know, that's the main trade that we took this week. That's me explaining it as, you know, simply as I am able to, pretty much. So that's that, you know, and then this upcoming week, we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to be sending out my trades live. I send them out every single morning. If I'm taking a trade, I send it out to you guys. If I don't take a trade, I'm not going to send anything out, right? But if I'm on the market and I'm taking a trade, I send it out to you guys. That way you guys can make money with us. And that is inside of our private Discord group, right? Some of you guys are in the free version of the Discord group, and some of you guys are in the paid version of the Discord group. If you are in the paid version of the Discord group and you are not using it, and you are not following my trades, and you are not watching me when I send my messages, why did you pay for it? Ask yourself that question. Why pay for it if you're not going to use it? You know what I mean? So for those of you guys that are a student and you're not active in the Discord, start being active in the Discord, right? I'm going to start being a lot more active by posting my trades. Not posting my trades. By doing the live streams, I'm going to be doing, again, next live stream is either going to be Tuesday or Thursday. I will confirm with you guys and let you know for sure, but it's for sure going to be on Thursday, possibly on Tuesday as well. So make sure you hop on the live streams. Make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you're engaging with my trades, right? Sometimes I'm wrong too, right? And then I share with you guys why I'm wrong. So that's a great opportunity for you to see how to analyze your losses, right? And what you need to do to adjust your losses, right? So take advantage of that information. A lot of times, the thing that I hate to see students do the most is what I just said. I'm trying to pull it up for you guys. But is pay to learn, especially if it's for me. You know what I mean? It sucks if you do it with someone else, but if you do it with me, especially, it makes me sad. You know what I mean? Because I care about all my students. You know what I mean? And I know all of you guys, literally, on a personal basis. So use it. You know what I'm saying? That way you can actually learn. You know, I'm not gonna call them out, but there were certain students that, when we first started, they had asked me the same question, 20 times, but they won't get on a Zoom call, or they won't get on the live streams, or they're not in the Discord group, or they're not watching the material, or they're not taking notes, or they're not practicing, or they're not back testing. You know what I mean? You can't make money. Trading is an amazing way for you to change your life and create an additional income stream. You're not going to get rich from it immediately, right? Maybe we'll hit $1 million in our account eventually, right? But it's either way, it's a great way for you to make additional income, right? But the only way you can make additional income is if you make yourself do it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't make yourself do it, you're not going to make any money, right? Whether you're doing this, whether you're doing sales, whether you're doing real estate, whether you're investing into crypto, whether you're doing car sales, you're starting, a Turo business, whatever, right? If you have this plan, but you're not taking action on that plan, you're not ever going to make any sort of money from that, right? It's legitimately impossible for you to. So for those of you guys that are beginner traders, or even if you're an experienced trader, but you struggle, and by experience it means are you withdrawing money? You know what I mean? And if you're not withdrawing money yet, it's either for one of two reasons. One, you're growing your account for future, which is highly recommended to do. Don't touch the account and let it compound. Or two, you're not withdrawing money because you're not making money, right? And either one of those are fine, but what's not fine is if you're not making money and you don't do anything to fix that. Right? Or let's say that you're only making money from your job, and especially, dude, if you're a student here, it's awesome, right? We're here, we're going to keep learning with each other. But if you're not a student with Cashflow yet, and you're on this call right now, and you're not going to start trading, but you're not going to do anything either, why are you here? You know what I'm saying? I love you to death, and I'm glad you're here. But I'm saying this as a way for you to, you know what I'm saying, start doing it. You know what I mean? Because there's I talk to so many people about this, and a lot of the struggle is just doing it. Is just starting to do it. I promise you guys, when it crosses my neck, God strike me down right now, right? Everything I just showed you is accumulation of what took me years and years to learn. Years of my own fucking blood, sweat, and tears, literally, hours and 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 hours of reading, of writing, of watching, of paying for programs, for courses, for books, for mentors, for everything that you can imagine, okay? Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars I have spent, okay, to find that strategy that I just showed you guys in an hour for free, okay? So, again, if you don't start doing it, it's not because trading doesn't work. It's not because Forex is a scam. It's not because your girlfriend, your boyfriend told you couldn't do it. It's because you chose not to do it. Okay? How much money can you make with Forex? I can't tell you that answer, right? You can make a few thousand like I do. You can make a couple hundred like some of the other students do. You can maybe make $10 a day like some students do. You can make $0 a day. you don't do it. You know what I mean? If you start doing it though, you'll start making money. Whatever your account is. If you have $10, you'll make 20. If you have 100, you'll make 200. So on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It's just the concept though of you taking action is the most important thing that I want you guys to take away from this call. Yes, we can talk about trading. Yes, I love trading. Yes, you know, I know what I'm talking about, and I can keep talking about this all night. But for one, I kind of don't want to. It's kind of late already. For two, no matter what I tell you, it boils down to you deciding to take action, right? I'm gonna be uploading this recording, you know, to Instagram, to YouTube, whatever outlets I can. And the most important lesson, again, that you guys got to get out of this, if you're not in cash, no, even if you're in Cashflow, 2 parts. If you're not in Cashflow, I'm going to say that first. If you are in Cashflow, I'm going to say, I'm going to call you out too. I'm going to say what you need to be doing, right? So what you need to be doing is, if you're not in Cashflow, right, you need to get an education, okay? If you don't know how to trade, it's okay. If you don't know how to make money online, that's okay. If you don't know what to do, that's okay. Find someone to learn from, okay? You need to find somebody to teach you. And if you don't find somebody to teach you, start learning how to do it on your own, right? The problem, though, with you doing it on your own, you're probably not going to do it. You know what I mean? If you were going to do it, you would have done it already. You know what I'm saying? To be real. You know, but aside from you probably not going to do it, it's hard. It takes time. Like I just said, a lot of time, a lot of money. You know what I mean? So the biggest piece of advice I can give you is, if you're not in Cashflow, is to get a mentor, right? Get a mentor. Oh, Ollie, I can be your mentor. Of course I can be your mentor. But if you don't want me to be your mentor, I don't care. Pay somebody else, right? Pay someone else. My program's $1,000. I'm transparent about it. I don't care. My program's $1,000. You know what I mean? I have payment plans, whatever. It's lifetime access. You know, I'm transparent about it. If you think that's too much money, that's completely fine. Go pay someone else. If you want to spend more money, it's completely fine. Go pay someone else more money than you want to pay me. I don't care. Right? What I'm trying to get at, though, is learn, right? The way that you learn faster is by learning from someone else's mistakes, okay? I can sit on here and tell you everything that you should be doing, but it's more important to learn what not to do, okay? And the most expensive lesson that I learned ever in my entire life, you know, is not wanting to get a mentor, right? Thinking that you can do it yourself. Okay, because you can do it yourself. I'm not saying you can't. Go do it yourself. You can do it, right? But how much time, energy, and money do you want to put in to doing that yourself? Most of your answer is most of the time, next to none, right? You don't want to spend any time doing it. You don't want to spend any money doing it. You don't want to spend any energy to learn it, okay? So you can't do that. It's impossible. The next best thing is to spend the least amount of energy, time, and money as possible to learn how to do it. How can you do that? By paying for a mentor, okay? Pay for your education, right? It'll make it easier for you. And again, if you don't want to learn from me, private message me and I'll send you my direct competition on who you can go learn from. I'm not going to tell you they're going to teach you as good as I will, but you can go learn from them. Go do your thing. You know what I mean? And I'll still be here whenever they're done. You know what I mean? But aside from that, is if you're not a student, become a student with me or with somebody tomorrow type deal. You know what I mean? Pull the trigger and do it. You know what I mean? Just do it. Spend the money, spend the time. You're not going to get young. You're not going to get younger. I promise you that. You're not going to get younger. We're going to get older. We're going to get weaker. We're going to get more tired. We're going to get more poor, right? Because the economy is going to get worse and things are going to get more expensive. So start now. You know what I mean? And at that point, you'll make money later. Okay, so that's my number one piece of advice to you guys that are beginners and that are on the fence about getting started with entrepreneurship or day trading specifically. Okay, for those of you guys that are current students in Cashflow, right? I know most of you, right? Not most of you, I know all of you, right? But I know what most of you guys do. You know what I mean? And a lot of you do not take your studies seriously, right? You know, you gotta put in the time. I have made trading as easy as I possibly could make it inside of the material, right? I can monitor and see all of your progress, right? I on my dashboard, I can go and look at all the students and I can see how far you are in each individual course, right? A lot of the times, I'll have to message a student, you know, and here's the thing too, someone will pay me money to sign up, right? And I'll have to make them start studying. You know what I mean? I'll have to remind them, hey, bro, you paid for this program. Don't forget to start studying it. Don't forget to watch this video. Don't forget to get on this call. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that. When you should be doing it your damn self. You know what I mean? You're the one that needs to learn how to trade. You're the one that wants to make more money. You're the one that still wants to, that wants to leave your job. I don't have a job. You know what I'm saying? I quit my job back in fucking 2021. You know what I mean? I've been fully self-employed since then. You know what I mean? Look up my company. It was instated since then. You know, but what I'm trying to say is that for those of you guys that want financial freedom, and same thing, and I'm saying this because this is what I do. You know what I mean? Because I'm chasing $1 million still. I'm not chasing money. But I'm doing the things necessary to put myself in a position to where God can bless me with money. Right? And by doing so, I'm working hard, right? I'm doing these calls, right? I'm studying, I'm calling people, I'm learning, I'm doing things, I'm moving, I'm being proactive with my time and my energy and my money, right? I have like 0 friends, dude, because I don't go out. You know what I mean? I don't like talking to people. I like talking to my students. You know what I mean? I like talking to you guys, right? Because I'm locked in, dude. If you're not locked in, you might as well lock yourself out. You know what I mean? And that's a little bar too. You know, if you're not locked in, you might as well lock yourself out. You know, because you're not going to make any money. If you're half-assing it, you're not going to make any money trading. It's impossible, right? It's impossible for you to do it. And anything, if you half-ass it, you might as well fully commit to your job. If you might as well fully commit to your job. If you're not going to fully commit to trading, right? You're not going to fully commit to whatever side hustle you're pursuing because you're going to stay broke, right? So you might as well forget about trading and say, you know what? I'm going to be too lazy, and I don't feel like taking any effort for myself or my family. I'm just going to work a job the rest of my life. Do yourself a favor. Remove the stress from your head by just not doing it. You know what I mean? Because if not, then you're going to put yourself in a torment of life by half-assing. And from experience, I'm telling you that. From experience. By you half-assing something, you make your life miserable. You know what I mean? Either fully commit to what you say you're going to do, especially if you paid for it, or just don't do it. You know, get rid of, at that point, so that's my, above all the trading knowledge we went over tonight, above everything else, that has to do with Forex and cash flow, whatever, as a friend and as a mentor and as somebody that genuinely wants to see all of you guys do good in life and, not be a fucking, slave, to the system that we were born into that was made for us to fail. You know what I mean? The only way that you can make it out and make money, you got to go all in on it, man. You got to be willing to take the risks. You got to be willing to sacrifice the time. You got to be willing to sacrifice your money. You got to be willing to sacrifice yourself, what you don't want to do, and do it. You know what I mean? Whether you're a student, whether you're not a student, whether you're a future student or you're a past student or whatever. You got to do it. And if you're not going to be willing to do it, you're not going to make any money. Right? And again, if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. You can't name one entrepreneur or athlete or musician or XYZ person that did not go all in on themselves, that did not take massive action in what they believed in. You can't, because they don't exist. And if they do exist, they're broke. And they did not make it to what they wanted to do in life. They did not make it to their goals. They did not achieve their objectives, right? Because they didn't go 100%, right? Either go 100% in or go 100% out, right? Trading is not hard, okay? It really is not. And I have a little Instagram page called Trading's Kinda Easy, because trading's kinda easy. When you start learning the foundation and you apply the repetitive principles that we just went over, right? I don't change anything about I've been using that same analysis for fucking years. You know what I mean? And it works. And again, prove me wrong. I encourage you to. You know what I mean? And the thing is that you won't be able to. One, because you won't be able to, because I'm right. And two, because you're gonna be too lazy to do it. That's how it is. And I'm being a little aggressive on this first call to set the tone. And because again, you guys are still here, watching this right now, which is amazing. And because you guys are still here, I know something about you. You're hungry, right? You want to do this. You want to make more money. You know you're worth more in life than what you're currently getting out of life. And am I right or am I right? You know what I'm saying? That's why you're here. If you were not wanting more in life, or you did not need more in life, you would not be on this Zoom call, or would not be on this live stream right now with me. You wouldn't be. You'd be sleeping or you'd be drinking, or you'd be smoking, or you'd be eating, or you'd be hanging out, or partying, or whatever. You know, the reason why you're here is because you want more in life. So I'm telling you guys this, okay? The way you get more in life is, one, you need to have the desire. You guys have the desire, perfect, right? The way that you achieve that desire is unrelenting action in what you are trying to achieve, okay? Right? I have been trading for fucking years, right? Am I a millionaire yet? No, right? Right? Did I expect to be a millionaire by now? Yes. Right? I started teaching a long time ago. Did I expect to have 100,000 students by now? Yes. Do I? No. Okay? When I lost money, when I blew my first account, did I quit? No. Right? What? You just do it. You do it every single day, and then before you know it, you quit your job. You keep doing it, and then you make your first 10,000. You keep doing it, then you were able to help change your first life. You keep doing it, then you're able to pay for your house. You keep doing it, eventually you'll get to 6 figures. When we pass that level next, we'll be at 7. Now you're a millionaire. But you got to start with way back now. Way back, you should have started 5 years ago, right? But since you couldn't, we start now. We start tonight. You know what I mean? So you got to make that decision for yourself tonight, saying, I'm going to go all in on doing this, right? Trading is not a hard thing to do. The hard part is staying disciplined up here. That's the hard part, right? Staying disciplined to study, to follow the plan, to be okay with not making that much money up front, because you're not going to make that much money in the beginning. You're going to probably lose money until you learn how to do it, unless you do it with a demo account, which you should do. But aside, to end my rant, right? To end my rant, we got a beautiful 2025 ahead of us, okay? We have a lot of things that we're going to be covering. We have a lot of things that we plan to accomplish. And I have a lot of personal goals. I have a lot of business goals. And I have a lot of student goals, okay? So I have a lot of things that I need to get done. And you have a lot of things that you need to get done this year. So my request to you, the viewer, is help hold me accountable, right? Help hold me accountable. I'll teach you everything that I know, and I'll help you in every way that I possibly can, right? Help hold me accountable and make me show up by you showing up, right? I'll do these calls as often as I can. If you know, I'm gonna do them 2 times a week. But if it ends up being where you guys wanted me to do them 5 times a week, I'll do them fucking 5 times a week, right? But you guys show up, right? Show up for yourself, show up for your future self, show up for your family and your family's future selves, right? Because again, you're the one that's trying to make a difference in your life. No one else is going to do that for you, okay? So this is a community that we built to make trading easier, to make trading a little bit more fun, right? To make, you know, being an entrepreneur and being, you know, an investor not a lonely thing, because it's a very lonely thing and your mind will get to you, right? So I'm here. I got your back. I'm here to support you. You know what I'm saying? So my responsibility is to help you grow. Your responsibility is to make sure you show up. You know what I mean? Show up every day. Show up to the charts. Show up to read. Do your personal development. You know, do your journaling. Everything you need to do. It's not that hard to get rich. I mean, I can't say that yet because I'm not rich yet. But I know I will be. You know what I mean yet? I know I will be. I know I'll be financially stable enough to provide for myself, my family, and everyone that I love, and donate and create charities and do everything I want. I'll even start a charity for Cashflow for you guys. Start a trading fund. You know what I mean? I know I'll have enough money for that one day. I don't have it now. I know that I will soon, though. I don't know how soon, but I will have it, right? And I know I'm going to have it because I do the things necessary in order for me to get there, right? I would not be saying that if I was just, I think I'm going to do it. I believe in myself. You know, I can do it. He did it. I'll do it. She did it. I can do it. I'm not saying that. I said, if you know me, you know me. If you don't, you don't, but you will. I do this on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? I eat, sleep, and breathe this. You know what I mean? I wake up cash flow. You know what I mean? I go to sleep cash flow thinking about it. You know what I mean? That's what I do every single day for the past fucking 3 years, 4 years. Literally every single day, Monday through Sunday, every single day. You know what I mean? So, and you know what happens? If I don't achieve my goal, I died trying my absolute very best to achieve what I set out to achieve, right? And that's what you need to do too, okay? So, I'm going to close off the call with that, okay? It was a beautiful time tonight. I'm excited for what we're going to be accomplishing in this new year moving forward, right? This is the first live stream of 2025, and we're doing it at the end of the first month of 2025, right? That means that this year is already like 9% done. right? The year is like, pretty close, to being a tenth of the way done. And what have you achieved? Have you done anything worthwhile yet? Have you scratched off any of your goals, right? If not, it's okay. We're going to change that, and we're going to work towards accomplishing that this year, right? Month by month, day by day, brick by brick, right? That's the goal. That's what we got to do, okay? So if you need help, you guys know where to find me. My Instagram is @OllieCashflow, CashflowINV, the YouTube, whatever. My number, if you want to text me, 561-377-2122. That is my cell phone number, right? If you want to call me, text me, ask me for help, whatever. Something I'm very bad at. Also, while I have the students here, I want to apologize for this. I have a video that I'm posting. I'm working on this, right? This is something that I personally struggle with very badly. I am very, very, very bad when it comes to text messages and like DMing. That's something I'm working on, man. I used to be really good at it, and now I'm not, right? Sometimes, I'll leave someone on, unopened, for weeks, and I really, I get a lot of messages, you know what I mean? So it's something that I'm working on being more time blocking with, like dedicating time to answering people. But I want to give you guys this: if I don't answer your text, if you call me, I will answer. You know what I mean? I will answer that. If you message me on Discord, I will answer that on Discord too. But bear with me on that. I'm getting better every day too, guys. You know what I mean? I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? We're getting better every day. So if I don't answer your text message immediately, I apologize. That is something that I'm working on. But that is my phone number if you guys want to text me or DM me @OllieCashflow, whatever. And now these live streams, invite your friends, invite your family, invite your coworkers, invite your kids, whatever you want to do, right? This, I'm here to help people. I'm here to educate as many people as I can. If you have a trader friend and you're like, hey, bro, come check out this trader, and they want to vet me, have them come on here and vet me, whatever you guys want to do. I appreciate any shout-outs, you know what I mean? Any shout-outs or, love that you guys can do, by taking a picture of me, posting me up on the gram, whatever you guys want to do, shout me out. That way I can grow the audience. Like I said, my goal is to be a difference maker inside of the trading community. Because it's polluted, bro. Trading community is garbage. There's nothing but scammers, nothing but people trying, fucking scam people. Even the other day, I'm telling you, the other day, there was someone that was, in their late 50s scamming people. You know what I mean? In the town that I live in. You know what I mean? So the industry is polluted. It needs to be changed. And this live stream tonight is the first night of the rest of my life, and it's the first night of the rest of your life. And we're going to make a big difference in this trading community, right? But I can't do that by myself. I need your help to do that, right? I'll help you, you help me. Shout me out, show me some love, tell you people I'm legit. And if they don't think I'm legit, tell them to come on here and prove that I'm not legit, right? With that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close this off. If you guys learned some stuff, if you feel like you have learned a little bit of something tonight, and you feel as if you're in a better position to move into this new week or this weekend and move into this new trading week, and you feel like you have a little bit more of a foundation of what to do and what not to do, just keep doing that, right? But yeah, guys, I appreciate you all. I'm trying to think. I feel like I'm missing something right now. Next call, what we're going to be going over as well is crypto to buy, because we're in a very important time for that too. I have a couple meme coins that I'm eyeing down. So make sure you hop on the next call. That we'll cover that in the beginning. We'll go over what meme coins to buy. I just bought $2,000 of Solana the other day, and I'm going to be throwing that into the market and see if we can turn that into 20. Right? Let's see if we can turn that into 20, and we'll turn that 20 into a Forex account and turn that 20,000 into 100,000 Forex. I'm going to be doing live streams with you guys, live trading challenges in the future. I'm going to be doing account flips. I've done this multiple times. I've turned $10 into 1,000 probably like 5 times right now. I'm going to do it again for you guys live. I'm going to do a binary challenge eventually for you guys as well. I'm going to do all that live for you. So stay tuned, right? Stay tuned. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And last thing is, let me take a little thing of this. But let me see how many people are still on here. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, that's the last thing I had to say, guys. But before I get off, is there any questions? I'm going to give everyone a second. Is there any questions, comments, concerns, something that's confusing you, or something that somebody wants me to clear up while we're here and while we have the opportunity? Any questions at all? Questions, comments, concerns, confusions? If not, then I guess we're good to go. So, if no one has any questions, if you guys can, do me the biggest favor, right? Do me the biggest favor. If you guys learned something, if you guys gained some value, if you guys were able to, at least learn what to do and what not to do, do me a favor and just drop some 7s in the chat for me. Drop some 7s in the chat for me if you guys learned something tonight and got some value from your boy. If you got some value from the call tonight. Let me see. Nice. Awesome. Sweet. Shout out to Bobby too. Bobby business, man. Shout out to Bobby. Sweet. But alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and end everything off there. And if you guys need any help, you know where to find me. Start trading, start plugging in, do yourself a favor and take action. Stop waiting on the sidelines and get to work. Right? I'm gonna end it off with that. And I will see you guys at the top because the bottom is way too crowded, ladies and gentlemen. Peace. Have a good night.